welcome to the Renaissance series, a set of videos of me challenging myself in an attempt to bring back what it means to be a Renaissance man. Let's get started. We've got 1 week to develop a full concept design for a sneaker that could be fit for Nike to sell. Our time starts now. To start off this week-long process, I thought it would be smart to do some light sketches of the rough shape of a shoe. I feel like this step in the process helped a small portion in terms of me being able to understand correct portions and shaping of shoes throughout the experimentation I did. I then moved on to what I feel was the most beneficial thing I did. I wanted to draw some already popular Nike shoes to get an understanding of how they're shaped and typically designed, as well as adding my own changes to see if I could implement things from my own head onto a shoe design. I started by tracing my phone with an image of the shoe that I wanted to draw, turning the baking paper over and imprinting the pencil onto the paper. I then ran over this with a 0.8mm fine liner to add some strong finished edges, and finished off with a 0.1mm fine liner to add some finer details, then erasing the guidelines with the pencil. Moving on to the experimental stage, I again traced on the shape and design of the original shoe and went over it with a 0.1mm fine liner. I did this because it meant that no matter how much I changed up what my additions were, I would still be able to have a rough light reference sketch to the original shoe. So with a pencil, I moved on to develop some changes. This then leads to the final sketch, where again I copy down the rough image of the shoe with a pencil, and I sketch out the changes I want to be made. I then run over all of this with a 0.8mm fine liner, ignoring anything from the original shoe that I didn't want to keep. Then comes colour. With this design, I wanted to stay true to the colours of the original shoe, so I chose some light yellows and oranges. After having completed 5 of these adapted Nike shoes, I felt like I was at a much better place to start attempting to make my own shoe. And with that, I finally started work on my own shoe design. I really liked the shape of the Air Max 95 remake shoe that I did, so I decided to trace that and use a rough outline as a guide for my own shoe. Right here, I'm just experimenting with some elements and features that I wanted my shoe to have. Out of these three, I went over with a fine liner, selecting the parts that I liked from each design. Then I moved on to the development phase, where I tried to implicate some of the features from my experiments earlier into more of a complete and finished shoe design. Overall, I was almost set with the third design, and that I would use that for my finished shoe, so I went on and decided to trace that, to keep it the exact same, and move on to deciding the colours for the shoe. I wasn't really sure where I wanted to go with the colours of the shoe, so I just chose some colours that I generally thought went well together, and tried to implement them on the shoe in a way that made sense. I tried to push myself with this last design by using greens and yellows, some colours that we don't normally see on shoes. Although I didn't hate the look, I much preferred the look of the second shoe, so I decided to go with that. That concludes my week of shoe design. Let me know in the comments if you think that I succeeded in my ultimate goal of making a shoe that Nike could sell. And with that, I'll see you next week. Cheers.